Hello everyone, and my name is Ipopris. Now, I'm recording a little bit late today, but it's fine. I wasn't sure if I wanted to intro this or not because of the kind of level it is, but today we are looking at backrooms level oneiroscape. Oneiroscape, I'm not too sure, but what I do know is I don't have much of anything to bring up. So, let's get into it. Hello, Morpheus. Are your headaches any better? Morpheus turned to the old woman. Hello, Luce, greeted the old man, looking tired. They haven't got any worse. Don't worry. It's probably a sign of old age. He tried to add a more humorous tone. Oh, don't say that, Morpheus. 50 years old is nothing, and you still look very young. She laughed. I'd go so far as to say you look like you've just stepped out of a dream, as you never seem to wrinkle. Morpheus smiled, trying to look as healthy as he could. It was important not to lose face, as many in the community were counting on him. You flatter me, dear friend. But deep down, he knew that, on the contrary, his headaches were growing in intensity. It had started a few months ago when he woke up. He could barely catch up with reality. The vivid landscapes and the colorful buildings seemed to mingle with his imagination, where he wondered if he had really aroused from his sleep. Will you come Sunday for the neighborhood picnic, my dear? Then unreal visions invaded his life. At times the old man saw fragments of his city, completely gray, destroyed neighborhoods, sidewalks, and alleys without people. Not a dream, but a waking nightmare. Of course, I will cook the apple pie. It's still my specialty. He could see the surrounding hills, darkening to a desolate black tone, as if reality realized that the landscape shouldn't be so optimistic and unreal, as if some kind of eternal nightmare were catching up with him from the far reaches of the world. Oh, how delighted I am! I've always been crazy about your desserts. If you're going to run this town as well as you cook, then we're in good hands, she laughed again. He'd talked a little about it to his close friends, but he preferred to keep it to himself in these times of mayoral elections. It was important for him to come across as a strong man, a stable personality. He had given so much to this town and its people. Thank you for your confidence, Luce, but I'm gonna have to leave you now. I've got to get home before 5. I'm swamped at the moment. Morpheus had always aspired to become mayor. It seemed the natural next step in what he'd done in this town. Oh, excuse me then. Well, we'll see you tomorrow anyway. He'd always felt like someone important, someone whose actions mattered. All this time he'd been helping his town and its people. They appreciated him for his efforts. Some even called him the town's protagonist. A rather ironic nickname, given that Morpheus often felt alone, even when surrounded by people, as if all around him were pale images that filled the landscape, only to give logic to the world around him. No worries, Morpheus added. Have a good afternoon. But the more important he seemed to become in the city, the more his headaches intensified. Yesterday, he was having trouble looking at the town hall, which he saw as desolate ruin, empty of all color, as if it had collapsed so hard that not even the light wanted to touch it. The day before, Morpheus was haunted by strange visions, seeing movement all around him, yet unable to discern the source. It was as if matter was stirring, yet not visible to his eyes. These symptoms had been recurring for months. Morpheus likened them to daydreams, for these visions did more than just disturb his day. They populated his nights. His dream journeys were now nothing more than rambles through his deserted city, destroyed, devoid of color or life. Every night he did the same thing. He was looking for one house in particular, a poor hovel with a meager vegetable garden. He couldn't remember what it was or why he needed to find it, but the city seemed to reject him no matter what. So he walked through the desolate hills, empty of all vegetation. He walked under a red sun which could be discerned through what looked like clouds of ash. Then he heard a mewing. He turned to his right and saw a small wood hovel with faintly colored wood walls some 10 meters away. A cat stood in front of a wicket gate, which opened onto the house and its small vegetable garden, the only place that still seemed to harbor any semblance of life. As he got closer, he could make out the interior. The library filled with dusty books, the rudimentary kitchen, seemingly devoid of all modern utensils. But the further he went, the fuzzier the landscape became. The more he felt himself leaving the plain, the matter around him, swarming malleable until it resembled the multicolored walls of his room in the city, whose lights and nighttime passers-by he could make out through the window opposite him. He was awake, no longer haunted by this strange dream, at least until next night. Now it was as if fragments of his dreams were forcing themselves to exist in reality, or was it the other way around? The bright colors of the neighborhoods, the almost unrealistic greenery of the hills, the sky always blue, inhabitants always happy and cheerful. Sometimes when he woke up, Morpheus felt more as if his city was the dream, and that the wastelands of his nights was his true reality. Morpheus was drawn from his thoughts by what looked like a completely demolished house in his path. He blinked. Nothing left. The house was just standing as it was supposed to be. The old man sighed but started walking again. He could feel his head spinning as if he hadn't eaten in days. Why did he feel so strange? Everything was always fine around here. Not a tear, not an ounce of anger, not a negative feeling. Of course, everyday worries could always arise, but they were only minor problems. Never a drama. Always sunshine. Feeling dizzy, Morpheus leaned against one of the alley's many street lamps. All around him, people were coming and going, living their own personal lives, oblivious to the old man in a three-piece suit who was leaning against a lamppost looking unwell. The man recognized some of them. There was Betty in the distance with her son Dmitri, who seemed to be returning from the supermarket with his bags full of delightful groceries. There was Joseph, honoring his job as a maintenance worker, taking care of this colorful city, making it somehow more perfect. Yet Morpheus had never felt so alone. Figures both known and unknown seemed to glide through his life, his reality, without stopping to be recognized. As if they weren't driven by a personality, but by some kind of metaphysical programming whose logic escaped him. He took a breath, leaving the lamppost that held back his body, as well as his sanity. The old man continued on his way home, feeling worse than ever. Yet he had no health worries. In fact, he couldn't remember ever having been ill here. The town doctor now seemed illogical, existing only to fill a void without providing anything logical. How many patients did the doctor see a day? Morpheus couldn't even formulate a hypothesis. If everyone was always perfectly well, why did he exist? But if he didn't exist, wouldn't that be even stranger? Arrived in front of his garden, Morpheus pushed open the gate to enter his little domain. The door didn't creak, yet he had never oiled the hinges. Was this normal? Morpheus didn't know. Trembling, he inserted the key into the lock of the door to his house. He couldn't say why he locked it every morning when he left, as there had never been a robbery in the neighborhood, or in the city for that matter. What a perfect city. Perfect and unreal. He passed his kitchen without stopping. His mind wasn't on making his famous apple pie this time. Had he even bought the necessary ingredients yesterday? He couldn't remember going shopping. Yet he knew his fridge was full. Entering his office, he lay down on the sofa. Collapsing would be a better description. Morpheus felt lost. His life seemed to be gradually losing its meaning. His dreams minimizing into what he had always thought was his reality. He doubted everything he saw more than ever. Was he dreaming? The little library in front of him? The passers-by he could make out from his window? Was he hallucinating the bright green of the lawn outside, the solid blue of the cloudy sky at this sunny time of year? His gaze was drawn to his computer screen, which featured a photograph of his neighborhood in the background. He glanced at his window, then at the background again. The same red car parked on the left, the same clean stop sign, the same road, untouched, flawless. The same cloud shapes moving across the sky. Morpheus could almost have sworn the two were carbon copies. Yet the two visions were separated by several years, if not more. Now that he thought about it, never had a wall, a lamp post, or a road junction had to be repaired. It was as if every fragment of his life had remained fixed since time immemorial. He blinked. The outside was gray, dull now. The houses were in ruins, the stop sign alone. The road littered with holes and irregularities. Then, after another wink, color returned. Back to light, back to the new, back to the clean, the strangely immaculate, as if the dull portion of reality were desperately trying to reclaim its rights over the colorful, perfect unreality that was her life. Like a dream supplanting reality, the revenge of a cold world on a manufactured utopia. A dark dream in this case, or the opposite. Morpheus struggled to his feet and walked over to his computer. He couldn't remember leaving it on before he went for his usual walk, but he didn't care. Opening his word processor, he began to type, still trembling, trying to record what he thought was true. What he thought he'd always lived, trying to keep a vestige of what he wanted to be reality, to hold on to it. This city is my house. This city is my home. As I recall, this town has always been the haven it is today. Nothing bad ever happens here. The sky is always blue and shines over the colorful neighborhoods of this place. Amazing, isn't it? It's even stranger because it never seemed out of the ordinary to me or my fellow citizens. I don't recall ever having seen a death here in I couldn't even say in how many years. Misery. I feel as if parts of my life have disappeared forever from my memory. We have a doctor, but I don't think I've ever been consulting. We have a cemetery, but I've never bothered to go there. We have a hospital, but I can't even say where it is. Everything I don't know just doesn't seem to exist, really. Anything that could be linked to something negative seems to be self-censored here. And yet, every city needs this infrastructure, doesn't it? Every human needs to be cared for, to pay homage to their ancestors. So why didn't I think of this before my headaches started? Everyone is friendly in this town. Nobody grumbles, nobody is ever sad, everything is always clean, too. Although there are cleaners, the cleanliness is surreal. It's not just the streets that can be considered gleaming, the houses, the stores, everything is perfectly clean, abnormally so, come to think of it. Speaking of stores, we have a plethora of them. As for the food, it's always divine. I don't know where the fruit or vegetables come from, but they never seem to rot. The apples I buy to bake my pies are always flawless. I've never asked Mr. Roger how he does it. And to tell the truth, I don't think I've paid much attention in the past. Before it all started, of course. We're in good hands here. The mayor may be retiring, but he's always been close to his fellow citizens. Always ready to help since when, in fact? I don't know. I can't remember. I hope I'll be up to the job if I'm elected. I, Morpheus, have always helped this city. I've always done everything for it, leading activities, keeping the community alive. None of this ever stressed me out, to tell you the truth. How could I be stressed? Everything here's perfect. Abnormally perfect. But now that I'm running for mayor, it's as if all the negativity that is supposed to exist in this town appeared in my dreams. I've never experienced anything like it. Not in years. Have I lost track of time? Does it even exist? Every night in my dreams, I walk through the ruined city. The hills are desolate, the sky is black with soot. This oniric place is filled with ideas that could never have existed here. Never should have. And for some time now, these dreams have been affecting my life. Why do I sometimes see destroyed buildings? Why do I sometimes see movements that don't exist? And why does it all seem so wrong? Why? My dreams. What are the dreams? Utopia and reality. Where am I? Who am I? Where is the true I? Morpheus blinked. The monochrome, then the reassuring colors, then the dreaded dark shades. All destroyed. All is immaculate. All is desolate. All is green. His head hurt. It hurt so much. Movement all around him, yet nothing moves. It stops. It goes on and on and on. Memories intermingle and contradict each other. How old is he? Who were his parents? Why was everything always so good here? Why was everything so blue, so utopian? He remembered having a cat, but who was he? He'd never had one. He remembered books he'd never read, landscapes he'd never seen, a dark sky he'd never seen. In the tumult of paradoxical thoughts, the old man collapsed to the ground. What was real? What wasn't? And why? Everything looked that surreal. Then it just struck him, and Morpheus understood. And so the Avatar was chosen. And that concludes the Backrooms level oneiroscape. Now, you might have noticed, my voice kind of sounds more strained than before the lamppost, and that's because, well, normally during recordings, when I get to the end of a sentence, or someplace where it's easy for me to pick up flow without disturbing things too much from separating clips, I'll stop, take a break, do what I need to. I did that there, and I recorded that all the way through, from yet he had no health problems to and so the Avatar was chosen. And I didn't realize until the fucking end that none of that was recorded. None of my voice was heard by this stupid fucking phone. So, yeah, that's kind of why. Because I guess it kind of helped. It helped me be able to read it better. Not the document part. That was worse than before. I also looked up the meaning of oniric. And I think it means like a dreamscape. In psychiatry, it's a kind of condition, or onirism is a kind of condition where dreams seem to force themselves into reality, and that seems to be what's happening here. If I had to, with my zero expertise, guess what was going on with Morpheus from a medical perspective, it seems it could be a combination of Alzheimer's and onirism. That'd be one hell of a combo, not being able to tell what's real and constantly forgetting things. Though isn't that just dementia? But from a perspective of the backrooms, oneiroscape, it seems to be a land of dreams. That's kind of what oneiroscape seems to mean itself. However, a dreamscape that is sort of, it's like a multiplayer it's like a multiplayer dream almost. A bunch of people living in a false utopia among ruins. Morpheus isn't actually living in this town. Hell no. He's living in ruins, and he's getting a glimpse of reality. Whenever he does things, he gets glimpses of reality. Though that's my theory. Maybe this is some sort of, something like the perfect neighborhood in The Wrinkle of Time. Something akin to that, I'm not quite sure. These unnumbered levels, they're always fun, but usually the lore behind them is iffy at best, or not iffy, unclear at best. That's how I'd put it. Whatever the case may be, I really enjoyed it. I think it's really fun when I get to go all in. Reading backrooms levels is fun, but having the opportunity to really read something with emotion is always cool. Because something, like in the end, whenever the document ends, Morpheus blinked. The monochrome, then the reassuring colors, then the dreaded dark shades. All is destroyed, all is immaculate, all is desolate, all is green. That's really fun. I hope it was as fun for you as it was for me. I know sometimes I like to, I don't like to do this, but I do it anyway. I don't even want to. I mess up. And usually I'll leave the mistakes in, because I think, for the sake of, if I was going for pure quality, then I would have a real microphone. I would be as still as a fucking robot, not make any noise, soundproof everything, but I don't do that. I do this because I enjoy it, right? If I was going for pure quality, I would edit out all my stutters, but I keep it in because I think it's important to realize everyone makes mistakes. And that's simple on its own, but we judge ourselves by standards we set, and not by the standards that we would have once judged ourselves by. We don't keep those in mind. And, you know, I think it's always nice to keep our old standards in mind. A good example is how I play rhythm games. I'll play row beats, specifically Knowlton's row beats archive. It's abbreviated from No One Likes This Name. I'll play that, and I'll be playing a song like Staring at Star, one that I know very well. And I'll be like, I wonder how long I can get before I miss. And I'll miss, and I'll be like, damn it! And then I'll be like, okay, no more, I'm not gonna miss any more notes after this. And then I keep missing them, and it's like, fuck! What is wrong with me? Why can't I press buttons? And then I have to be like, no, I'm doing very good. I'm doing very good at this, because I just have to think of how I once would have judged that. Once I would have looked at myself playing that and been like, holy shit, that is amazing. And there are some people that would look at it and be like, what, you think you're struggling with that? Right? It's all a matter of perspective. And so it's always good to keep other perspectives in mind. I didn't mean to get that deep with the video, but, you know, I don't see a reason why not. And the fact that that we were able to get from a backrooms level to that kind of discussion says a lot about the level. The writing is really good. I learned a couple new words, which usually doesn't happen. Yeah, I thought it was really good, and I hope you did too. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed it. And yeah. Well, with that said, that's about all I have to say about the level itself. Now, I have been iPopras, and if you liked this video, go ahead and leave a like. That way, it'll be in your likes playlist, it'll boost videos from me in your recommended and general algorithm. And you can also go back to it in your likes playlist, come to my channel, view my videos, or just watch that specific one. You can also, to be more aware of when I upload, you can subscribe and or hit the notification bell for varying degrees of being notified. As well as if you have a suggestion, or just wanted to tell me how good I did, or how much you hate me and want me to die, you can comment. I don't really care what you comment. I just enjoy reading them. I'll probably like it no matter what you say. Go on, test me. Actually, I probably shouldn't say that now that I think about it. Someone in the comments says, I'm a Nazi and I liked this and I like it. That doesn't look very good. So, not no matter what you say. There are limits. There's a line. Don't get too crazy. Also, if you have any ideas for levels you want me to cover, a Python script that randomly generates numbers can only go so far. Well, I didn't get this one from a number, because it's unnumbered. I just wanted to read it unnumbered. But that can only go so far, and so can I. So, even if it isn't a backrooms level, leave a comment, I'll look into it, and who knows, I might read it. Honestly, I probably will. It takes the work out of me having to read things, or find things to read. So, yeah, just helping me out there. Also, if you have something you think I can improve on, also comment. Moral of the story, comment. But also, yeah. If you didn't like the video, you can press dislike, but since YouTube's a piss baby about dislikes, I don't think I can see it. I might be able to. I'm not very sure. Just leave a comment. Again, moral of the story, leave a comment. It solves a lot of issues, really. Oh, it's engagement bait. Yeah, I like when people engage with my videos. Shoot me, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's about all of that covered. Now, I think that's all. Now, I have been Ipopris. And until next time, I still don't have an elegant way of signing out.